just like life. But I'm kind of patient, cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm. And grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow, and I am live. And you'll have to let me know if my audio, video, everything is okay, because obviously I tried to do this in an Airbnb and it just didn't work out. The internet was actually substantially better than I normally have, but the live streaming just wasn't cutting it. So I did delete that video just to spare people the breaks and everything. Sounds good. Okay. I know I'm a little smaller in frame than I normally am, but that's okay. Still playing around with things. Very first thing I want to touch on, and I want to do some AMA stuff today too. You guys can ask me questions and things. But before we get too deep into everything, I want to show you guys. This is the finally, this is Soblocks.com. It's SOBLOKS. And if you happen to be a Murder of Crows NFT holder, it's murderofcrows.io, you will be able to access this and actually help alpha test, because there are going to be a lot of features added. But this is basically my social media platform that we've been working on for a while, and I'm going to start getting a lot more active on here and doing more things. But you can see you do not hold any Murder of Crows tokens. Posting is disabled. So basically you're going to be able to create groups and kind of capture those like real big names and things like that. And, you know, this is alpha. Okay. So we're still working on a lot of stuff. There are going to be so many things tied into this, from an NFT search engine, an ADA tokenizer, a lot of the projects, a lot of the things. See, this is what I haven't really touched on with a lot of people. And no, I haven't gone and done a big token sale. I haven't done any of that. Okay. Because I really don't want to do any of that. But there are going to be so many different features that we're going to be integrating into Soblocks. And a lot of these little side projects that I haven't promoted heavily, I haven't pushed a lot, it's because I knew that the goal was to build them out, get them functional, test them a little bit, and then put them on the back burner. Because ultimately, I want all of these different functionalities available on Soblocks primarily. And there is going to be a token. There already is a token called Blocks. And the Blocks token is ultimately going to be used in a lot of different things, okay, associated with Soblocks. And right now, you're going to be able to create groups. And if you have a Murder of Crows NFT, you'll be able to access this, create your profile, start posting, create groups, that sort of thing. No sound? Are you trolling? Do I not have sound? Let me know. Let me see. I'm seeing sound on my end. So anyway, so that's Soblocks, and I'll let everybody know more later. And then, you know, here's what I'll do. I'll post a link so that some of you guys can check it out. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Somebody was trolling. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's Soblocks. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit before I got moving into this, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, and this is going to take probably a year. You know what I mean? Even more. And at some point, I will be submitting this to Project Catalyst. I will be talking to Charles Hoskinson about it. And yeah, so before I move on with the rest of this video, there, obviously a lot of you guys know that I was quite literally in the eye of Hurricane Ian. Our house was basically directly, where we live is basically right where Hurricane Ian entered Florida. And, all of our none of our neighbors evacuated. And we kind of, and I don't know if I don't think I'm ever going to do this again, but none of our neighbors seemed overly concerned about this hurricane. People have lived here all their lives. They're like, we've been through all the hurricanes. We've been through everything. It's fine. Apparently our house was designed specifically with hurricanes in mind. I gotta be honest. We were nervous. I mean, we were in the eye for 3 hours. So and I posted some videos on my Twitter. Until like before things got really bad, I was posting video clips on Twitter out of our second story window. And the thing of it is the hurricane was so powerful. We had 150 mile an hour sustained winds for like 8 hours, which decimated the area. And the thing of it is, and this was my first hurricane. I've never seen them. I've never been a part of anything like that. I've never lived anywhere during a hurricane, coming from Cincinnati, Ohio. And then, we moved to Puerto Rico briefly. And that was, years after Hurricane Maria, which completely devastated Puerto Rico, and things were just starting to get back on their feet. And it was such a mind-blowing experience because we were quite literally, my wife and I, we went up to the second floor because we were, everybody was telling us about storm surging and, all of that. And, my wife is a weather bug. She's always on her weather app and she's always trying to see, what's the next system? She likes to use her little code words, her meteorological words like system. This is a storm system. I always tease her. She's so cute. But anyway, and she's like, listen, based off of where we are and our elevation and our distance from the coast and all of that, we really shouldn't see any flooding. But and then they increased it. And they're like, oh, it could be like, up to 18 feet or whatever. And at that point, we're like, okay, well, we could have up to 3 feet of water in our house. And I'm just thinking, man, we left Puerto Rico, came to Florida just to get away from a lot of the nonsense. And boom, here we are. Like nature's taking its course. And it's like, I can't catch a break. Right. And funny thing too, right in the middle, like right before this hit, the IRS sends me a letter wanting to know about those Bitcoin ATM machines I gave away before we moved to Puerto Rico because they were worthless, by the way. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I get to deal with this. Then the hurricane hits. It was just like, oh my gosh, right? We're sitting in our second floor bed, watching out the window, just waiting for our fate to unfold because everyone here was just like, we're not evacuated. We've seen it all. Well, then they start talking about, this is a Cat 4. Now it's almost a Cat 5. And we're thinking, oh my God, we're sitting in the direct path of a Cat 5 hurricane. What the hell are we going to do now? Because at this point, all the highways are loaded, like people trying to get out. We're like, okay, we could either just stay here and hope for the best. We've got resources. We had like 40 cases of water. I mean, like all kinds of stuff that I basically accumulated. Pro tip, if you subscribe to things that you need on a regular basis from Amazon, they pretty much always show up. Like it doesn't matter what's going on. The shit shows up. We came back. Well, I'll get to that. But we did end up going away after the hurricane because of the power loss and so forth. And, and we had water, we had boxes of water waiting for us. And it was all from Amazon subscription. So we're watching this and there's this huge tree out that we could watch out the window. And we're watching, originally the storm was like spinning one direction. Right. And we're watching this tree just take a beating. Right. And, Clarence Thomas is live from LinkedIn. You're probably the only one. I think I have like 6,000 contacts on LinkedIn, and I never even really use it. Beware of impersonators. Beware of my impersonators everywhere, especially in the comments of this video. They're going to be like, let's chat, let's talk. It's all fake. It's not me. A lot of you guys know this by now. After a video, I always try to like hide these people, but they just create these bot accounts. So anyway, we're watching this tree, and then, and things got really bad for a while, and we're just watching it. I mean, we've got granola bars and Pop-Tarts and all kinds of stuff. We're drinking water. I've got these little battery packs that we're using because I have a CPAP machine, so I have to have power. And the first night, we had power, and then through the night it went out, or it might have even went out that evening. And then the storm calmed, right? And you're looking out the window and you're like, is this over? Well, a friend of ours sent his father-in-law over to our house to help us prep everything. Like, he tied our grill down, helped move. We basically put all the furniture up high. We put it on the tables and things so that if it did flood, the furniture, I mean, it was crazy, right? And we did all this stuff to prep. We had our boat like tied up and locked down. It was just crazy. And he told us, he said, listen, when this hits, it's going to be really crazy for a while. And depending on how fast it is and everything, it could be over pretty quick, or it could take a really long time. He said, but ultimately it's going to wind down, and then it's going to kick back up, and it's going to be even crazier. And we're like, oh, so we knew when the storm died down that it was coming back. Like, we knew that wasn't it, right? And sure enough, man, that thing started, and then it started whipping in the other direction. So all of the trees, everything everywhere that was basically getting beat down this way is now getting beat down the other way. And that is when a lot of these trees just started getting uprooted, snapped in half. I mean, we were watching trees like, well, there goes another one. There goes another one. It was the craziest thing I've ever witnessed. And, we didn't evacuate because we felt pretty secure in our location, right? And we felt pretty secure in our elevation, flooding. Our yard was completely flooded. I mean, we have a little pond in the back, and it ended up being connected to our front lawn with water. So it almost looked like we had a lake, almost a moat. Okay. And I don't want to say it was terrifying, because we never really felt like we were in that much danger. Like, all of our windows are stormproof windows. All of our, which really means something. Let me tell you, like, storm windows, not only was everything quiet, which a lot of people will say, oh, your house is going to shake and your windows are going to rattle, and you might get busted windows and this and that. It was quiet. So we always felt pretty secure, even though we're watching just mass destruction outside. I mean, it was just nuts. Here's the thing. We just had solar panels installed on this house not that long ago, by Advanced Solar. Okay, so if anybody in Florida, you're looking for solar, they did a hell of a job. And not only did they do a hell of a job, they did it quick. I mean, they were pretty much in and out. I think total was like a week, maybe. And they're super professional. And now I will say there's one thing. These guys installed the solar system so that it needed internet to kick on. So not only did our generator not kick on when we lost power, but our solar backups also did not kick on. And they said it was because we didn't have internet, so it couldn't trigger the solar system. And I'm like, so where's the manual override? I should have a button somewhere to say, I want to use my battery juice, right? Apparently there isn't one. And anytime I asked them about it, they ignored the question. So I'm like, you sons of bitches set up a solar system so that I had power exactly for something like this, and you're saying I can't use it. Within a day, they did come out, and they had to, I guess, set up a generator on a combinator box or whatever to charge it up enough to get a signal, and then it kicked on and it stayed on. So even while the rest of the community was out of power, Our security system still worked. We still had some lights. We still had some stuff, but it was the very idea. It was the very idea that like they didn't just kick on when the power went out, which is insane to me. And I still plan on having that remedied, even if I have to go out of the company to do it. But I will say those solar panels are still there. 150 mile an hour sustained winds for 8 hours, and those solar panels are still kicking. They're still there. I think we might have had like one of our ceramic shingle things come loose on the roof. We had no property damage. The vehicles were fine. My mother, who lives in Punta Gorda, however you want to pronounce it. My wife and I think it sounds silly when people say Punta Gorda, because I don't think that's really, I think it's, my wife says it's a Latin name and it's not pronounced Punta, it's Punta Gorda. But anyway, tomato, I guess. And my mom lives there, and she came here to stay with us because this, we have the resources and the water and stuff just in case. And let's just say home security, looters, we were waiting. Like and even when we went away, we had precautions. Let's just put it that way, because looting is such a thing apparently in Florida with hurricanes, and we heard about it all over. And we kept even after the storm, we had all these people coming from out of town. They're from Alabama, they're from wherever, talking about tree removal service and this and that. I'm like, these sons of bitches are looters looking to see who's home. And so let's just say we were prepared. And when DeSantis basically came out on the news and said, if you loot, we shoot, I'm like, ready to go. And everyone in my neighborhood, as a matter of fact, our neighbor who has 2 trained Dobermans that are like the kind you see in movies, yes, I might have had. We were ready. Let's just put it that way. Like, Matt. But our neighbor, somebody I guess they had their garage open, and some guy just walked right into their house and got chased out by their Dobermans. And apparently the dude's lucky because those are trained dogs, and they're always ready to go. Like, our neighbors are cool, but man, those dogs always freak me out. And they're sweet. They're sweet when they're like, when they know you're like a friend. But looters coming into our community, that was stupid. I mean, regardless of what they thought, because they could have been like, oh, there's nobody here. I think I'll go see what they got. Yeah, they would have got something. And so anyway, but the power was out everywhere. And when the storm was finally over, it was decimation, man. I mean, we drove down the street for the first time. Every power line down all the roads were like snapped like twigs or just ripped out of the ground. The majority were just snapped like toothpicks. And apparently that was by design. I didn't know this, but apparently the telephone poles are, no, I don't live in Miami, Southwest, close to Fort Myer. But the power lines are basically designed to snap so that it doesn't rip all the power lines out and like, just the power lines are all shredded. And I will tell you this, I never knew much about Ron DeSantis before moving to Florida. And I have a friend who's big in like, she works in Florida politics and things. And she's always like, what politicians do you want to meet? And this and that. And I'm like, to me, they're all like politicians. Like, I don't care. Right. And, but I will tell you what, this man has won all my respect. I mean, within a week, all the power, internet, everything, all back. And I'm talking about after complete and utter decimation everywhere. And I'm thinking, this guy, here's the thing. And I am definitely going to get a little emotional because this is something that plagued my mind basically since I heard it. And I'm still trying to figure out what I could do about it, if there's even anything I can do about it. But here's the thing. I want you guys to picture. So I was talking to my mom, my mom's truck was parked right out on our driveway, and not a scratch on it. Okay. Her house in a community of like hundreds. Okay. Her house was maybe one of 20% that weren't demolished, that weren't just ripped to shreds. Okay. Her house, her carport, not a scratch. And then a friend of ours tells us a story about a family of 5 who didn't evacuate, and they drowned in their attic. And I'm thinking, instantly when I heard this, I thought to myself, you have a family, everybody was told to evacuate. Everybody was told to get the hell out. We didn't. We did the math. We figured, okay, we're probably okay. Worst case, we have a few feet of flooding, and we'll have to deal with that when it comes, if it comes. But we heard of this family, and there were many families who were destroyed by this hurricane. Okay. And the problem is that people that didn't evacuate, especially if they only lived in a 1-story home or a ranch home or something like that, they had nowhere to go. The only place they could go is up in their attic. We even have neighbors who have a single story, and that was their plan. If the storm surges hit us really hard and things start to flood, they were going to go up in their attic. Well, this family apparently did exactly that, and they perished. The water had gotten so high that they couldn't escape. Apparently, they didn't have an axe to chop their way through wherever they were, and the whole family drowned. Now, when I heard that, I instantly visualized me with my wife and our daughter up in an attic. The water's rushing in. There's nothing we can do. The panic sets in. The reality of that situation sets in. My daughter, terrified. My wife, terrified for my daughter. I'm terrified for both of them, and there's nothing I can do. Picture that. And that was the reality for so many families in Southwest Florida. And I have to think to myself, why would someone risk that? Why would that situation have happened? Not once, but multiple times in different parts of Cape Coral, in Fort Myer, in the areas that these storm surges really hit. And I'm thinking, they don't have the resources to evacuate. These families, there are so many families that are much less fortunate. And I'm thinking to myself, I am fortunate because of all of you, because of my YouTube, because of my investments, because of the decisions that I've made. I am fortunate, but not everybody has those opportunities. Not everybody is as fortunate. Not everybody has the means to get the hell out when they're told, get the hell out. So many families are living on a variety of different means, whether it's government assistance or they're working a 9-to-5 job, making ends barely meet, and they don't have the resources to pack everybody in a vehicle with their most prized belongings and get the hell out of Dodge, get an Airbnb or get a hotel. Maybe they don't have family elsewhere. Maybe everybody's family, they all grew up and were raised here. But the reality is that there are so many families that just don't have, they don't have the ability to make the decision. The decision is made for them, and they have to die because of it. Now, this whole video isn't all doom and gloom, but I just wanted to kind of put this out there for people to understand this hurricane, while it didn't affect my family, really affected a lot. And I really want to figure out something that I can do. And I was talking to my wife about it, and I'm thinking, what could I do? There's so many projects that I always have going on. I really like to stay busy. I like to dive into new things. I like to learn new things. And I'm always trying to find like a use case for myself. Like what could I be doing? I'm in my 40s. Hell, I'm going to be 45 years old in November. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I make my time more well spent? And I'm really struggling because of course I love the crypto space, but there's so many things going on in the world, and with the wars and the economics and the just all of that stuff. And it's like, I watch and I read this stuff morning, noon, and night. I mean, really, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I'm always trying to figure out what's happening. And I really think I want to try and figure out a way to create a program of some sort to empower those without the means of getting the hell out to be able to get the hell out. And I really think I'm going to be, this is on my checklist. I told my wife, as soon as we get back, I'm getting back to work. I'm working on blocks. I'm working on Murder of Crows. I'm working on the bot. I'm working on just all the different things. I'm working on my channel. I want to start going live every day. And I really want to try and go live every day at the same time every day for 30 days and see how that's reflected in my channel metrics, and see if it, am I really shadow banned, or is it just because I've been so sporadic with my content, YouTube doesn't like it? What is it? But there are a lot of different things, and I really want to create some sort of program, and I want to get hotels involved. I want to get people involved and try and create some sort of system, whether it utilizes blockchain or not. And basically say, hey, if you live in an area that's about to be hit by a Cat 3 or above hurricane, or maybe XYZ guidelines are met in your area, and you want to get out and you need to evacuate, but you don't have the resources, damn it, here you go. So that's something that that's something that I really want to try and focus on here. It may not be 4 or 5 years. It might be a while until another significant hurricane hits, but they're getting stronger. Whatever's going on in the world, whether it's a cyclical climate thing that happened that just comes and goes every couple hundred years, or what, there are just too many people out there that really need to be able to have the choice. We had the choice and we didn't go anywhere, and we came out fine. Those that can't make that choice and end up perishing because of their financial circumstances, it makes me sick. It really, really, it makes me sick. And honestly, it makes me feel a little guilty to some extent, because I think about all these families that have been destroyed in multiple ways. And here I sit fine. My house was fine. The cars were fine. And I'm not saying I wish any damage would have come, but I'm just thinking, man, the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I mean, it either works in your favor or it just completely ends everything, if not you. And I feel like those of us with the means, the reach, the ability to try and make some change, even if it's slight, I think to myself, if I were to be able to start some sort of program, and maybe that family that I heard about is the family that is able to be saved in the future, then it's worth it. So, all right, done with all the, done with all that. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in the crypto space. I'll get over this, man. All right, so let's take a look at what's happening. Thank you guys for sitting through that. Already 30 minutes, 30-minute video. Let's go over a little bit of news. So I will say this: Cardano founder hits back at XRP trolls attacking him for views on the SEC versus Ripple. I didn't I didn't see exactly what he had said. I don't really know exactly what it was, but I did watch his video where he was basically talking about the XRP community coming after him because the comments he made, something related to Klaus Schwab. Oh wow, that's funny. Yeah, I guess sometimes that's actually pretty hilarious. So anyway, and here's the thing, you know what I mean? The tribalism in crypto is so strong. And while I understand Charles and his perspective on this, and I understand why he gets kind of triggered sometimes, to me, it's like when you're somebody who what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, he's trying so hard to build something, and he is. I mean, he's not trying. He's doing. My wife says, I'll try. I'm like, there's no try. There's just do, right? And you either do or you don't. And that's kind of the way I look at things sometimes, most of the time. But I saw Charles' response video to a lot of the anger and the frustration from the XRP community, and he was basically saying something along the line, something about a great conspiracy or whatever, and I guess it was taken out of context and it was used to create some narrative, and a lot of the people in the XRP community jumped all over it. And here's the thing, this is one thing that I think anybody can agree with. Charles is one of the, I mean, there are so many projects out there that many consider to be competitors of Cardano, and Charles doesn't crap all over them. He might make some tongue-in-cheek comments here and there, and he might say things every once in a while that could seem a little, off kilter maybe. But in the grand scheme of things, that's debate. You know what I mean? That's debate. That's conversation to a big degree. And nobody, and of all the people that I've seen out there in the crypto space, Charles is definitely one that I've seen reach out endless number of times on Twitter and through his AMAs and anything, saying, hey, let's work together. Let's work together to make this economy, this community, this system better. And he doesn't shun anything. If he thinks there's value in a project and he thinks that there's a way that they can work together to achieve new goals to help the communities overall, he's all for it. And he doesn't even necessarily have to like the project. He just has to see the merit in it. And he's willing to figure something out, whether that's XRP, even Solana. I mean, a lot of these projects, he's like, listen, you might have a weakness. Maybe we have a weakness. Maybe we can fix those weaknesses and become stronger for it. And everybody wins, right? He is not of the tribalism that the majority of us, even myself to a big degree, I admit it. I'm not a Cardano maximalist, but I've been a proponent of Cardano since December of 2021. I've been talking about Cardano, promoting Cardano, educating about Cardano since the days when everybody was calling it vaporware, when everybody was trying to blast it to try and pump their own, whatever their favorite projects. And people still do it today, whether it's coordinated bot attacks, which I see all the time on Twitter. It doesn't really matter where it is. There's so much anger and hate and frustration and such a concentrated effort in pushing something down because you feel that it's going to raise you or your project up. And that is just, that's only temporary if it works ever to begin with. And, B, the technology and the metrics and the on-chain data and the evolution of these projects speak for themselves. It doesn't really matter what somebody might think or believe or feel. What matters is the actual data. And that is a big problem in the world today, where so many people with such a strong conviction love to push their ideals or their ideas or their thoughts or their emotions or whatever into the minds of other people without the ability to back any of it up with actual facts. So when I see, I like the XRP community. There are a lot of big communities out there. I hold some XRP for a rainy day. Maybe something good happens. It's a little bit of a gamble, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't potentially good things coming. This is another article. XRP might be in serious trouble as ominous signal appears on chart. All right. This is basically talking about, the chart, the technical analysis of XRP right now. But you know what? Technical analysis to me right now just doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot, because as I always say on this channel, there's so much looming. Okay. There's so much happening in the world over that a lot of these market indicators, these market metrics that a lot of us have been using, I believe to a large degree have been basically thrown right out the window. The 200 weekly moving average, the 300 weekly moving average, this crossover, the golden cross, the death cross, all this stuff, right? The pi cycle, all of that stuff. And I just don't think, I don't think a lot of this stuff is going to matter in the grand scheme of things. There was actually a positive article that I thought I had about XRP, because I was going to show this and then I was going to show the flip side to it. And I guess I just didn't. I don't have here. Let me see if I can find it, because I actually thought it was pretty interesting. There's a lot of stuff happening, obviously, with XRP in court. And I would like to see it do well personally. But there's here. Oh, that's what it was. XRP poised to erupt in parabolic rally as Ripple unveils ODL service in Sweden. Here, let's take a look at this. So XRP poised to erupt in parabolic rally as Ripple unveils ODL service in Sweden and France. This is on October 11th, today. The XRP price could demonstrate considerable strength in the near term as Ripple strives to strengthen its presence in Europe despite the current bitter crypto winter. The San Francisco-based distributed ledger startup has introduced its crypto-on-demand liquidity service in France and Sweden, it announced today. Here's the thing about Ripple, and there's a lot of stuff about Ripple that a lot of people don't know. And at some point, I'm probably going to do a big expose on XRP and what's going on, why I believe it's been kind of the pseudo target for the SEC. Quite frankly, I feel like the vast majority of this lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple or XRP is exploratory. If you want my honest opinion, I think this is their way of forcing the regulators. I think the SEC is learning a hell of a lot about distributed ledger technology as it relates to finance on a global, local scale. And I think that ultimately, to some degree, they went after Ripple because they have the funds, they have the means, the connections and everything to combat the case. So it's not necessarily just the SEC's going after, you always see, the SEC's always going after low-hanging fruit. They're always going after easy wins so everybody can boost their careers and this and that. That's what you see. Well, if that's true, and that may be true to some degree, depending on who it is, it's front-running some of these things. But they're not going after Ripple and XRP because they're low-hanging fruit. These guys are connected. They're very, very well funded. And I mean, this battle has been going on for 2 years. And I believe that to some degree, this is exploratory for a multitude of reasons. And I think that, while the government, while the regulators, while everybody is learning all about how this works and how that works and what does this mean associated with that and so forth and so on, I think that's a big part of what this case is all about. And I think that let me put it to you this way. Regardless of what happens between the SEC and the XRP case, I believe that it's not so much about XRP as it is the technology XRP was built on. And I believe that it's that technology that is most likely being looked at to create these CBDC tokens in the US and other countries. Okay. That's what I think. And I think that this whole case is just a means for them to better understand in a completely laid out legal format what everything is and means and how it's used, what its benefits are, so forth and so on. Whether or not XRP loses the case, I believe the technology behind it is going to be widely adopted by the government. That's what I believe. And at some point in the future, I will go on and I will touch more on that. Now, if the technology is utilized for CBDC tokens and things like that, how does that affect the XRP price itself? I don't know. There's so many things that happen. Anytime I see an article on anything really, there's always so much more behind the scenes than what we are told. There's always, what we see is what we're meant to see. Outside of that, it doesn't really mean much. So we'll have to wait and see. But U.S. Treasury fines crypto exchange Bittrex $29 million over years-long sanctions violations. Bittrex is facing record fines from the U.S. Treasury Department over the exchange's lack of sanctions controls between 2014 and 2017. Wow, they're really going back. The Treasury has been increasingly vocal about crypto exchanges' need to comply with sanctions since the summer of ransomware attacks last year. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, Bittrex has always seemed to be a lot more lax than a lot of other exchanges, but that could be my own thing. America's oldest bank to be the first mainstream lender to roll out crypto services. The oldest bank in the United States, BNY Mellon, has received regulatory approval to offer cryptocurrencies to its select customers interested in Bitcoin and Ethereum. The approval issued by the New York regulator will see the lender become the first mainstream bank to offer cryptocurrencies alongside traditional products on the same platform. That is huge, because if that starts to go well for that bank, I'm pretty safe to say that the many other banks are going to follow suit. So I'll be very interested to see how that works out. And we're going to see so much more of that. Listen, folks, there are so many people out there that want to think that regulation is a bad thing. And granted, it's scary. I mean, regulation is scary because, hell, when a lot of us got into the crypto space, we didn't know what was what. We didn't know, hell, when I first got into crypto, it just looked like something completely separate from all else in the world. And it was this new technology, and it was this new method for being able to generate money and being able to easily invest in something without a broker, and being able to just invest in startups and new ideas and new technologies and so forth. And none of us ever really thought like, oh, wow, this is going to be like very soon, sooner rather than later, it's going to become a highly regulated technology, a software. I mean, the majority of cryptocurrencies are software. They're not really currencies. Bitcoin is software. And so, when you think about that, you think, we are still not at a place where the major institutions are piling in. Yeah, market capitalization continues to go up at the peak of each market, but ultimately the major institutions, the big players, the government involvement, they're all waiting for policies associated with these blockchains and basically being able to distinguish the good from the bad, creating metrics and guidelines for, this is a new project. This is something that's, a more risky asset compared to this that's already tested. It's decentralized. It's this and that, and it's safer to put money into. And we haven't even reached that point yet. And the regulations are coming. Okay, they are coming, because when you're talking about a CBDC and you're talking about the way the world is changing right now in favor of this programmable digital money instead of greenbacks, paper, notes, the entire ecosystem in the crypto space is going to change. Will it change by 2025 or 26? No. I mean, it is going to change. It's going to change significantly over this bear market in preparation for what I believe is to come. But it may not be until 2030 that we see the most significant changes in the crypto space, and we see a Bitcoin worth, $250,000 or $500,000 or something like that. I'm not even saying it's possible or it's going to happen. I'm just saying anything is possible at that point. because when all of these major institutions, and not just the major institutions, but what's the metric of the number of just US population alone that holds any cryptocurrency whatsoever? It's more than it was in 2017. How much more do you think are going to get in when regulation has become a thing? And now, the cryptocurrency space as a whole is part of a new index, or is like, you can invest. You've got the S&P 500. You've got when does crypto become a part of that? And when it does, and it is a viable investment vehicle that everybody is using, it's something that you can pick up at your local bank. Because I'll tell you right now, until the banks truly do get into crypto, their days are numbered. Okay. I mean, when you're talking about a central digital bank currency, the banks themselves, I believe, are going to be the fiat on-ramps until there's no fiat, right? And I think that that's really going to be where the banks start generating a return, because the banks are going to become the DeFi applicators, as opposed to a lot of these other DeFi applications that have risen and fallen from market to market. Crypto has to become more mainstream in order for the 2-cent coin we bought years ago to be worth $200 tomorrow. And regulation plays a significant key role in a lot of that. So when I see new regulation coming, I don't see that as doom and gloom. I see that as an opportunity, because without that regulation that is enabling the major vehicles to get into the space, the major companies, the pension funds, the this, the that. Remember the one video I did? I did this years ago. I did a full-blown calculation on if just 5% of the global pension funds were to go into Bitcoin. Do you remember the number of how much that valuation would have increased Bitcoin? I think the video was titled $250,000 Bitcoin, but it was substantially higher than that. I just named it $250,000 Bitcoin so that it was more palatable and believable in the thumbnail. But just 5% of global pension funds, I think it took Bitcoin to almost $400,000. It might even have been higher than that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But those days are coming. So, and when those days do come, I'm willing to bet that through regulation and with Bitcoin as a commodity, Bitcoin truly does become the true store of value for all cryptocurrencies, for all digital currencies of any kind. People are going to be trading in and out of Bitcoin like they do fiat to gold. And those days are coming. So let's take a look at some of the questions before I sign out here on a 47. We're at 47 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up and see what's going on. See Joe Berlin. What's going on? How's Florida? It's actually pretty calm, pretty decent. Looks like a disaster hit. Adam R's in chat. What's going on, man? Nice to see you as usual. Good morning. Is it George or Jorge? I'm not quite sure. I never really know. Brother Crypto, good morning. Rocking the gray beard. Yeah, I'm just rolling with the salt and pepper anymore. I don't even really care. My wife used to diet, but it was such a pain in the butt. I said, screw it. We survived Ian. We in Bradenton didn't get hit too hard. Well, that's good, Steven. That's very good to hear. Fort Lauderdale and Miami didn't get hit at all. They never lost power, nothing. I mean, it's still nice over there. So where we escaped to for a little bit. I am alive, Sauce Boss 95. I'm here. Is the Cardano hurricane almost over with, Rob G? I don't think anything in the crypto space right now is over with. I still think we're heading lower. I mean, I've been saying that for a while, and for the first time in a long time, I finally saw Cardano dip under 41 cents, I think. What is it right now? Let me take a look. 39 cents, 39.9. I think we have a ways to go. The next few months are very, very telling. And I will tell you some of the stuff I am doing. Obviously, I'm working on soblocks.com. That is my social media platform. If you hold a Murder of Crows NFT, go check it out. Join the alpha testing. Start setting up groups, build your communities and all that fun stuff. But and things will open up more and more to the public later on. But I really just want the Murder of Crows community involved in this right now. Just kind of an added use case for the Murder of Crows NFTs that people were picking up and still are. They're still available. They're not completely sold out, but and then obviously I want to start working on a way to help people that want to be able to evacuate during big bad storms. So I will be working on that. And what was the other thing? I mean, there's so many. I already lost track. Just a lot of stuff to stay busy is basically where I'm at. Everything is good, minus we didn't see your intro, just you. Oh yeah, I just played the song. I didn't play the intro. On Streamlabs, I don't have the video set up here yet. But thanks for noticing, Anthony. David Martin, does your NFT dev do side projects? David, my my developer is looking for a job right now. I mean, he's looking for like a consultancy, contracting position. He's a full stack developer. I mean, he's the one that built Crow Trader. So, he's capable of everything. He's the one that's been building Soblocks. He's the one, he's been my main guy since, I don't know, 2018, something like that. And we've worked on a lot of stuff together, but now we're in a bear market. It's difficult to generate revenue from a lot of the stuff that we've built. And, we continue building and continue working. It's one of the reasons why I'm going to put Soblocks on Project Catalyst. I've got my game, which I've been starting to work on the website for my tactical game that's going to be on Cardano. That's really, I mean, man, I've got a new build coming soon, and I'm looking for artists, concept artists, 3D modelers, things like that. So yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of stuff coming, and I have different developers on that. I have my two main developers for my game are out of the Ukraine, and man, these guys are so good, and I love these guys. I mean, they're the best developers I've ever worked with, honestly. Very selfless, very humble, very hardworking, always excited to show me their latest and greatest. They are not making any effort at all to drain me for funds. I have offered more money. And they're like, no, we're good. We're not. They're not going anywhere. They're in the middle of a war right now, and they're just kind of huddled up. And I think, to be honest, I think they're kind of just glad to have something to focus on. I'm not sure, but they're just the sweetest people. I want to show them. I'm going to have them on my channel when the game is more ready to be revealed. But David, he's definitely looking for a gig. So if you've got something, hit me up on Telegram or whatever. But he's looking for serious gigs for serious money. I mean, he's not really looking for like tiny little side projects or anything like that. He needs to get back to where he, I mean, he's a 6-figure guy, so that's what he's trying to get back to. And I will tell you, like, whoever's doing anything right now is the definite time to be building. I mean, this is the bear market, and we're going to get worse, and it's going to get bad, and then before it gets better. But this is the time to build, and this is the time to really focus on what you're wanting to accomplish in the world. There's the URL for Soblocks for those of you that are interested in checking that out. And let's see. That inflation is nuts. I'm looking forward to the price drops, though. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to get worse. What happened? You left Cincy? Brother, I left Cincy like a year ago. Longer than that. It's been a while since I've been in Cincinnati. I think we moved to Puerto Rico like March or April last year. So yeah. Watching from LinkedIn, Clarence Thomas. Did you say that you put in solar? Did that help at all? Yeah, I'm very, very glad that I have solar, because without it, our home alarm system wouldn't work. So when we went away, because we didn't have power, we didn't have water, we didn't have anything. So we're like, okay, we got to get the hell out of here. So we ended up getting an Airbnb somewhere. They kind of ripped me off, but it was partly my mistake. But I explained to them the situation. I'm like, listen, we're Cape Coral refugees. I just need to get an Airbnb until power and things come back. I was told it could be a week, it could be a month, I don't know. And they seemed understanding. And then they got my money and they're like, yeah, no refund, sorry. I'm like, you bastards. And we were the very first tenants in that Airbnb. I still have it for like another 3 weeks. And we're not even there anymore. I'd much rather be in my own home productive than sitting at an Airbnb just because I already paid for it. But like the cold water didn't work in the bathtub, door handles are coming off. And like we're the first tenants that ever stayed there. An obvious like rehab, but I'm not trying to. It is what it is. I made the mistake of booking it so far in advance. But we had it if we needed it, and now that we don't, they're definitely not trying to budge and help anybody out. So it's ran by a company. I'm not even going to say the name of the company. Like the pissed off part of me wants to just blow them out of the water and be like, don't ever use one of their Airbnbs. But I'm like, I'm just not that nasty. It is what it was. And I booked it. This is the first time I've ever used Airbnb. So I thought it'd be like a hotel where okay, we'll book it. And, and then if we don't need it, we give you enough notice, you'll help us out, refund us for, meet in the middle or something, so that everybody wins. But yeah, no, they're like, you're not getting a dime back. We got your money already. But anyway, lesson learned as far as that's concerned. But, it is what it is. And that bed the bed there was terrible too. God, it was like a Sealy memory foam mattress, and it was just horrible. Like if you're as big as me, you just sink down into those things like you're in quicksand, and it's not comfortable. Hey Crow, glad to hear you're all fine after the hurricane. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be back. Definitely glad to be able to get productive again. Dumb question. I heard when you put solar in, you lose the warranty on your roof. Nobody's ever said anything to me about anything like that. I don't even know how much sense that makes. I think it depends on the age of your roof. But the roof on this house is questionably old anyway, to be honest. But we had it checked out and it's fine. And it just withstood that hurricane. So I can't complain. Who would have thought that internet bound solar was a good idea? Yeah, that's still, I just don't understand the sense in that. So yeah. Thought you lived in Miami. Okay, I answered that one already. Selling all ADA because of Charles Hoskinson. That would be your move. You do you, I'll do me. I plan on accumulating as much as I can, especially once I believe we've hit a more projected bottom. Ron DeSantis is the man. I tell you what, man, if there's any politician I've ever wanted to have dinner with, and just talk to, it would be him. Trump is Trump. Okay, whatever. I think on paper he did a hell of a lot more than he's ever been given credit for. I feel like he's been wrongfully demonized just across the board, and he's just not. He's not one to play. He didn't play the game the way that the game has been played for decades, and they didn't like that. And especially when they have their own kind of agenda in play, they just do not want him interfering with their plans. But good on him, right? He kind of played out how I figured it might play out, even when he was first running. But DeSantis to me is he has definitely earned my respect, just in the way, not only in the way he handled this hurricane and continues to handle it, but everything before that. I don't know if I've ever seen a politician where I was like, he's not a politician. He's somebody who's in office because he's really trying to do good. He's not there because, and maybe he does, maybe he has aspirations to go above and beyond governor and all that. But I don't know, man. I've never, I'm pretty good at reading people for the most part. And he just, to be honest, he strikes me as somebody that might be on the spectrum a little bit, but in a really, really good way. But who knows? Yeah, I can't even jump back to that topic because that just get me all emotional again. I'm hoping all these people who moved down to Florida to live here can move back up north after this hurricane. Sorry, but y'all drove up my insurance and taxes. I don't know how I would have done that. I haven't filed an insurance claim on anything. Yeah. Lots of people live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, I know. I'm not even sure what that's saying, honestly. So horrible and scary to think about. I also have a family of 5, 3 boys. Glad you made it out of this okay. Ryan Anderson, yeah, thank you. I can't even think about that again at this point. Crow, glad to see you. What's up, Alex, my cousin, fellow Cardano lover. Need to bus children into churches out of harm's way where they are locked down safe under guarded security. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, okay, yeah. Every year we get hit with that so-called 100-year storm. Yeah, and I was even watching people in the news basically saying, listen, you know, these storms just keep getting bigger and bigger. They keep calling them record breaking, but every storm seems to be record breaking lately. And yeah, it's terrible. He tries to fight crypto cancel culture. Yeah, you know, this whole cancel culture business, I think its days are numbered, man. I mean, I really do. The hysteria, the pandemonium associated with it, the hypocrisy, you know, what people that are hurting hurt. I mean, that's the way we just watched the movie last night. It was The Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. Actually a pretty good movie. You know, typically if I go to a movie and they force you to buy it instead of rent it, I'm like, oh, it's probably isn't going to be very good because they're not going to make enough revenue off of rentals. It's actually a really good movie, so it was worthwhile. But you know, and it's funny because he's like this hitman, this contract guy, operator or whatever, and you know, he's trying to go peaceful. and you know, he's like, hurt people hurt, basically saying like it's the people that are hurting inside that lash out and try to hurt other people, and I definitely believe that's true. But I also believe there's a certain mental aptitude, a mental strength, and emotional strength. You know, I feel like I'm always hurting. I mean, there's always something wrong. There's always a tragedy. There's always a difficulty in life. There's always struggles and hurdles and things that you have to overcome. But you know, I think that your heart really plays a significant role in whether or not, you know, just like the Airbnb, like I could be on here just bad mouthing this company and just like, oh, they took advantage of a refugee of the hurricane and this and that, and like try to get my revenge. But it's like, you know, it's not good karma for one. And it's like, you know, it's a company. And you know, I made my mistake. I learned my first time using an Airbnb how to handle things differently in the future. And I have to take accountability for that. I have to be responsible for that. You know, I didn't have to book it out for a month. I could have booked it out for a week maybe and hoped it was still available a week later, or maybe we'd had to move or whatever. But I just didn't want to take a chance because I really thought we were going to be out for like a month. And I wanted to make sure that we had a place to stay. So that was the risk I took. I lost. They weren't willing to do anything about it. My loss. So, you know, it's just, you know, we have to be accountable to these decisions we make. And, you know, I know that a lot of decisions, a lot of things that we do, you know, some of them stem from a place of ignorance, of not knowing, or things changing. And it's not that we're doing wrong, or maybe we believe we're really doing the right thing. We're doing things. You know, I see this a lot in a lot of the world, where I believe that a lot of these people believe they're doing something righteous or they're doing something good. But it's the anger and the hatred and it's like they feel like they're retaliating for a lifetime of rejection, of hurt, of pain. And they're using these narratives now to lash back out at the world that put them in the position they're in. And it's not coming from a place of equality or goodness or purity or any of that stuff. And you know, it's a lot of it is also built on hypocrisy. And I'm of the model that I believe everyone should have a voice. Everyone should be able to say what they think and they feel, and accept that others may not agree or have an opposing opinion, and that creates discussion. And if you can't handle having a discussion on something you feel so passionately about, then maybe your perspective or your passion is potentially ill-founded or flimsy, or maybe not able to stand on its own merit through facts. So, and that's a part of why conversation is such a good thing, so that you can better learn and adapt and change. And, you know, I believe that the happy medium and a lot of what's going on in the world right now is the best place. Because I believe there's a lot of truth associated with the convictions of the world. Okay. I just think I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about that, but ultimately, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I wish could be a lot different. What are your thoughts on Celsius and Alex? The last I saw, Alex was resigning, and I'm disgusted, honestly. I now, and here's the thing: it's always easy for someone to play armchair quarterback. It's always easy to say, "Oh, Alex is a crook. Alex ripped everyone off. Alex did this. Alex did that." Maybe he did. I really don't know. But I also know, like, when you're receiving that kind of yield off of investments, or I mean, the idea was everybody was supposed to have been able to basically put their money in the app, generate a yield, like an interest or whatever, because they were loaning the money to other people who are putting up significantly more collateral to borrow these funds and then paying it back at interest. That's what the whole thing was supposed to be about. Not about investing in a bunch of crazy DeFi applications and building a mining farm with the revenue. Like, I don't know. There's so many details associated with it. I don't know. And the question is, if the bear market hadn't hit the way it hit, would the story still be the same? What were these calculated risks to get the biggest reward? How does what Alex did relate to what a lot of these Wall Street bankers and people do or have done? Is it just because it's the crypto space with these significant ebbs and flows and bear and bull markets that it didn't work out, and he got caught in the middle of it, didn't know what to do, and just kind of kept trying to double down, ultimately making things worse? Like, what was the situation? I don't fully know. And everybody can put a spin on it, or their own opinion or their own thought process. Overall, it was bad. I mean, right? I mean, it was bad in general. I think the very last thing I saw was something about how he had potentially withdrew like millions in crypto and millions in funds right before they locked everything down and seized funds or whatever. And I'm just like, but it's like, I can have an opinion, but my opinion doesn't mean very much, because and really my opinion doesn't mean much because I just don't know. There's so much behind the scenes. I have tried giving Alex the benefit of the doubt for the longest time, but it just seems like every time I turn around, there's like something worse, something equally bad happening. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's not good. I don't know what to say. I mean, I saw that there's talk of them trying to reinvent themselves as a custody solution. Like, that's like, I don't know. That's like having, I don't even want to make an analogy, but yeah, that's not going to work either. So I just think Celsius is likely done. If they manage to make some sort of comeback, and maybe they get a lot of stuff situated and they go through the courts, and the courts say, you know what, it's not what everybody thought. I don't know, but I'm not counting on any of that. That's no excuse. Everyone's been hurt in life. No excuse to go around making life miserable for others. I absolutely agree. But unfortunately, not everybody, or the majority, is in that sort of mindset. I will say that a lot of my leftist friends have gone really quiet. I mean, they used to be super vocal with their convictions on everything, and now they just don't say anything. And I think a lot of people have learned and are still continuing to learn that they may very well have adopted a series of narratives that may not be all that I don't know what word I want to look for, but you get what I'm saying. Crow, any updates on your new game? When's it coming out? I'm excited from what I saw. Keep us updated. There will be some updates. I'm waiting on a new build, and I am searching for some like one or two really good 3D modelers. I mean, basically what we're trying to get is this MVP to a position where we can play it easily, right? So there aren't any bugs. It's more intuitive. We've been through quite a few builds, and every build is better and better. And I know that the next one coming is going to be really, really good. And I may even set it up so that like MOC holders can like alpha test this build with me at some point. But ultimately, I do want to set up a Project Catalyst for Soblox and for this game. I just want both of them to be in a place where, you know, my biggest fear with Soblox is, well, what if it were to catch on? And a lot of people's, that's one of the reasons why we're limiting it to MOC holders, because the bandwidth, the storage, the servers and all that, I don't have the funds to like fund a Facebook. Not that I would ever even get to Facebook, but like I need help. I really do need help. And you know, there's moderation, there's a lot of different things. And ultimately I need to set up a little office with an in-house staff of people that are like working on Soblox, and like, you know, my developer who's, you know, the way this is all going to be set up is you're going to be able to mint your posts and things, your stories, your content to the blockchain, but there are fees associated with that. And there are ways that we're trying to figure out how to do that. Like, you know, we might store, you know, data blocks so that everything isn't minted to the blockchain right away, but to reduce fees, maybe every so often content is stored and it's all minted as one block. So there's one fee and then it's distributed amongst all the posts, all the posters and things. We want to basically reduce the cost of being able to mint content to Cardano, and Vassal is helping with that. And there are other things. So there's just so many different elements to these things. And, but I definitely need help. I mean, it's not anything I can effectively do on my own in a bear market, but I also don't really want to crowdfund. I don't want to try and do some, you know, anything like that, really. I just don't want to end up in that kind of situation. So we'll see. But yeah, there'll be updates soon. Once the website is up and I have a downloadable build for everybody, then I will announce that. Somi Social, not a thing anymore. No, it is. I mean, Somi Social is pretty cool, but it's on Hive, and they were never able to like work anything out to get it built on Cardano. And I really want a social media platform on Cardano. So I started, like, I don't know, it's been has it been a year? I'm not sure how long it's been, but it's been a while. But we started building Soblox for Cardano. And like, this is the first video. I'm pretty sure I've even said the name of it. So you guys that have been watching, you're the first to know anything about it at all. So, but yeah, you know, that's it for today. Over an hour long. I'm good. Family's good. Everybody's good. I'm going to get back to work. I need to start creating my checklist of all the stuff that I want to be working on. And this has definitely been a lot more of a lax video where I'm just kind of shooting the breeze about a lot of what's happening. And I just wanted to kind of update everybody. And I hope you guys are all well. And I will see you guys very soon. Until next time, guys, crow your coins, and I'll see you next time.